So
So you're saying, so when Radiotron burned down, and you said that was 1986, were you guys really like the last to kind of just hold on to it? Because like I'm sure everyone else was moving on to like what you guys call Club Nouveau, right? Like the Running Man, like the Smurf, the Fila, the Cabbage
Roger
Patch,
Rabbit, Roger
Roger
Rabbit.
Rabbit. Yeah. So everyone started because like it happened for me when I was like 10 years old. Same thing. Kind of like, why are you doing that old stuff? This is what's going on now, right? And that was
People,
like I was 10. But for you, you're already what, 15, 16, 17. What discouraged you to keep going even though because like some people just quit straight up. So let's
well, the
hear
whole
that
scene.
story a little bit.
Yeah, so 1986, Radiotron was shut down. You got to keep in mind there's a few things that were coming in into place. Music was shifting. That was a big one because when the music shift, the dance shift. Okay, so Radiotron was shut down. We were all going back into the streets. Okay, now breaking got prohibited. You couldn't dance on malls. You couldn't dance in the schools. You couldn't dance in the streets. If you would get caught dancing in the streets, you would get a ticket. Now the doctors, some of the kids were getting injured, and there was this big thing that it was all over the news that this kid tried to do headspins on a mattress, broke his neck, and it was all over the news. So
I
basically,
remember that. I
it
remember
gave us
that. I was a
a bad
kid, so my mom was like, "Don't do that. You're gonna
don't
break
do
your
that,
neck."
right? So it brought fear and worry to their parents. So doctors were telling their parents through the news and the articles to stop this type of dance because it was too dangerous. What about football and skateboarding? Right? Isn't that dangerous too? So that and then you had within ourselves, but you were saying, Profo, you were saying that we started distancing ourselves because that dance was kind of like it was looked upon like it's too old. Like people started dissing it, including ourselves, right? And then we were not even allowed to even dance in clubs no more, right? And then when music shifted, it went from a upbeat to a slow down beat. This is when gangster rap was coming in, MWA, right? Ice
Let's
T.
be real. Ice-T changed his. He went from like DJ Glove to Reckless to like he made more money from Colors than he did from any of the soundtracks from Breakin.
There you go. So
At
you go
6 in the
music.
morning. Like that song was like
Yeah, it was a hit, man. So there you go. So when and then what happened was that, man, all the drugs came in into Los Angeles, and it was just I think a dark moment in the history of our dance of the culture, because it was now became about it was not about who was the best in dance. It was more like, hey, I got more power than you, and I'm gonna take you out with guns and shoot you and kill you. So basically, it became more about territorial, and it became so dark that now music was dictating the feeling of like, because the music was, remember, a lot of the kids that were in the hoods, they became rebellions, right? And it was put on record. So that makes you want to pick up a gun and go shoot somebody. So it became a war zone between the b-boys, the poppers, the lockers, and pretty much within that scene. So there was so many drive-bys in the freeways. It was just crazy. Now, so music shifted. So all that had a combination, and then the media, they do what they do. I don't blame the media. I mean, I know so many people do, but I don't blame it. They do what they're gonna do. They're gonna talk good or bad about it. In most cases, they're gonna talk bad about it, right? So basically, that's what happened from 1986 to about 1990. That was the dark area of that was just the dark moment in time, when people were killing each other.
Jeez.
I remember when I was a kid, we all used to like, we weren't breaking, but we were tagging, right? We were tagging, like I was like 11, 12.
Yeah.
And then it went from that to like when Colors came out, then everyone was a Crip and Blood all of a sudden. Like it was like literally like overnight. Like out, and for you guys, it's been happening. But for I was in San Francisco. I was like, what happened? What happened to like just hitting your name up? Now everyone's like, you have to, there's colors involved in this and that.
Yes, it's because of, like you said, Ice-T colors. It just, either you're a Crip or you're a Blood.
And it was crazy. Did you find yourself within that, that scene when all that was happening?
Yeah, man. I was, like I said, for me, right after I stopped breaking, there was like this new movement of music that came in. So I was always drawn into dance because it wasn't just breaking. I just love music and dance. So I started learning a little bit the Cabbage Patch, the Roger Rabbit, right? The Running Man. I started going into that, and then disco came in, which is we were dancing to all that freestyle music when disco came in from like by 87, and then there was a lot of clubs. So now there was a time where that if you were in a car club, or you became that club became dancers, and it was like a new movement coming in at the same time within all the stuff that was happening because of the new music. So I became a part of a club. In that club, I was still competing in dance, basically. But then that club turned into a gang, and it no longer became a club because all the clubs, they all turned into a gang. So I was within about 2 years, I got caught up in all that stuff, where I got in trouble, I went to jail, and I just got caught up in doing things that I shouldn't even be doing in the first place. To even think about it now, I'm like, my God is so just and so faithful that, man, I'm thankful that I'm alive even now, even to tell you this story, because in every block there were gangs, every block. So in every block there was gangs.
Was this the Heshra look right here? Kind of like Geraldo, Rico Suave.
Yeah, no, this is a little bit more like Lady, more like in the early 90s, 91.
Okay. Because they're doing like kind of those, like right here, they're doing kind of like those
89.
Coco and them.
Yeah, that was like that. I think that's about maybe 90, 91.
Word. Okay.
Yeah, because he was he used to lock. He breaks.
Oh,
too.
word.
Yeah. He used to lock. Gerardo used to lock. Yeah, he was a locker.
So okay, so you guys, so it was the dead period, right? So it died. What was the first time when you start to see it coming back?
Well, once I was getting my life together, in 1989, I stopped everything. I didn't want to go hang out with my friends no more. I wanted to just change my life, and then just I went back to school. I took some classes. I went back to college, and so one time, Chuco from Air Force shows up at my house all of a sudden, and I'm like, how did you know I live here? First and foremost, he just showed up, and then he said, hey, Caesar, Breakin is coming back. This is 1989. I was like, what? Breakin's coming back? Yeah. He goes, I haven't stopped dancing. I haven't stopped breaking. He goes, I just came from Malaysia. I just came from a tour. He was like, dude, why don't you come and practice with me? I was like, really? Yeah, come and practice. As a matter of fact, there's this club called Water the Bush up in Hollywood. I said, let's go. Let's go, because right there, they're actually, everyone's dancing. Everybody was freestyling, but they're getting down.
Who owned this club?
Ice-T and Africa Islam. There you go again.
There you go again. Africa, shout out to Africa Islam, man.
And Ice-T, right? So he shows up, and I'm like, really? He goes, yeah, man. You don't dance. I'm like, no, I'm not dancing, man. I'm just getting my life together, and so Chuco at that time. Now I know Chuco since the 80s. I didn't have a relationship with Chuco because Chuco used to come to Radiotron, and he used to practice like on the side, and he used to watch us all the time. We were just wondering like who he was, because we didn't know him, but I remember him. I remember him, and so when he showed up, so he took me to this club in Hollywood. I show up, everyone is freestyling. Everybody's freestyling. Everybody's freestyling. They all got into the circle. They they're all freestyle. There's a crew called the Scheme Team with Kalani.
Scheme Team. Shout out to Scheme Team.
Yeah, with Kalani, rest in peace, and all the fellows from the Scheme Team. And these are some of the guys that actually they used to pop and they used to break as well. And also the Jungle Brothers, right? Some of the guys.
They dance for Def Jeff, yeah.
Yeah, man, that's exactly.
I do my homework, buddy. I do my homework.
Some of the guys from LA Breakers. Some of the guys were LA Breakers. People that were actually doing, what was that TV show? In Living Colors. Remember In Living Colors?
They became Farside. Two of a Kind. I think the name was Two of a Kind. Yeah, became Farside.
Arthur from LA Breakers was the choreographer, the assistant choreographer of In Living Colors. So you can start to see that they were all into like basically getting down and freestyling. Now, some of them also started going into the floor. This is where I meet Robbie Static.
Shout out to Robbie.
Shout out to Robbie. I meet him and now he blows me away because he's doing crazy stuff where we left off. And when I saw him doing halos, double halos, and windmill 90, but in a very different way, I was like, whoa. And his head spins. So this guy is really advanced. He's like very advanced. Now me, I'm just coming in fresh. Like I haven't done flares in a couple of years, like 2-3 years, right? And these guys is like just inspires me, man. And the music comes on, and here I go.
What kind of music was in this?
Well, it was all the that just the whole new music. In '89, you had all the what is that? What was the name of the songs that were playing? But it wasn't gangster. It wasn't gangster music. It was that whole new music that's coming in. I can't remember.
Music, like
yeah, it was just new music coming in.
Was it hip hop or no? It wasn't.
No, it was hip hop. Yeah. You know that song, Jump.
Okay.
Oh man, what was the name of all those songs?
So is it all the Tribe Called Quest stuff?
Yeah, but it was really upbeat. And then sometimes they would throw some
Jungle Brothers kind of had kind of stuff like that.
Yeah. So but then they threw some old school as well, and that's what.
Maybe something like Public Enemy got you guys hyped.
That's it. Public Enemy.
Yeah, there you go. Shout out to Shockley Brothers. They used the ultimate breaks and beats. Come on.
There was another crew too. These guys are from they're from Europe somewhere. There was another crew that they had a real hype song, man. It's like jump, something with like everybody up, like jump, something like that. But anyways, that's when I saw Robbie, and it just blew my mind, and I got inspired. Then Chuco says, "Hey, you want to come and practice?" I said, "Yeah, I want to go practice." So I started practicing with Chuco, and then Robbie, we hooked up, and then he starts telling me his story about us, and basically, and he never actually stopped dancing. Robbie was one of the guys that started, and he kept going, and he actually mastered this incredible dance, man, all the power moves. There you go, Soul Train. This is Chuco to the left, Chuco to the left, and I myself on the right. Right, we're dancing to TLC. I ain't too proud to beg.
So
Right.
this is when I first saw you, Caesar. That's when.
Really, 1991 or 92. That's Soul Train.
Yeah, I first saw you there.
Yeah,
I first saw you on Soul Train Saturday morning. That's when I first saw you. Was this thing? And I was like, "Yo, there's this little Mexican guy, man. He got head spins, bro." Like. Yo, this is Shadow Rock and ProfoWon.
And this is Jasoul.
And you're watching the Gearhdz Breakcast. Please like, subscribe, hit the bell at the top for notifications, and follow us on Instagram at Gearhdz Breakcast. Peace, y'all.
Peace.